Amorim'S tactics are rubbish. Roy Keane urges Manchester United to sack manager following disgraceful Carabao Cup exit. Manchester United's latest defeat has plunged the club into one of its most humiliating chapters in recent memory. Crashing out of the Carabao Cup to fourth-tier Grimsby Town, following a penalty shootout collapse, has left fans and pundits in shock. What was supposed to be a routine fixture for the Premier League giants turned into a nightmare at Blundell Park, with Ruben Amorim's management and tactical decisions now under heavy scrutiny. The defeat has ignited furious debate over his future, with club legend Roy Keane leading the calls for the manager's dismissal. A humiliating exit. The Carabao Cup clash was expected to be a comfortable night for United. Instead, it became a disaster that will haunt the club's supporters. From the opening whistle, United looked lethargic, devoid of urgency, and unable to cope with the intensity of their League Two opponents. The first half alone encapsulated everything wrong with Amorim's current project at Old Trafford: disorganisation, defensive fragility, and a lack of cutting edge in attack. Grimsby Town struck first through Charles Vernam, who punished a defensive lapse with a sharp finish. Just minutes later, Andre Onana committed another error in what has been a deeply troubled spell for him at the club. Misjudging a cross, he presented Terrell Warren with an easy opportunity to double the Mariners' lead. By halftime, boos rang out from the travelling United supporters, many of whom could hardly believe what they were witnessing. Amorim reacted by throwing on big names such as Bruno Fernandes and Matthijs de Ligt after the break, desperate to salvage the game. United did respond, showing more fight in the second half. Bryan Mbeumo clawed one back with a well-taken finish, and Harry Maguire, often criticised but ironically the one showing the most leadership, equalised late in stoppage time. The relief was short-lived, however, as United failed to kill off the tie in extra time, and the game moved to penalties. The shootout was an epic, stretching to sudden death, with players from both sides trading successful conversions. Yet when the moment of truth came, United faltered. Matheus Cunha saw his attempt saved, and Bryan Mbeumo struck the bar. Grimsby prevailed 12-11, sparking euphoric scenes inside the small stadium, while United's players trudged off the pitch in humiliation. For the fans, it was not just the result but the manner of the performance that stung most deeply. Roy Keane's scathing critique. Few voices in football cut as sharply as Roy Keane's, and the former United captain wasted no time in tearing into Amorim and the team. On television, Keane labelled the tactics rubbish and insisted the club should not waste another day in contemplating the manager's future. This is Manchester United. You cannot, under any circumstances, lose to Grimsby Town. The performance was disgraceful. The players lacked hunger, fight, and organisation, and that comes down to the manager. If he cannot prepare his side to handle a League Two team, what hope is there against top Premier League or Champions League opposition? Keane fumed. The Irishman's criticism echoed the frustration of countless supporters who feel the club has lost its identity under Amorim. Keane went further, suggesting that the rot runs deep and that decisive action must be taken immediately. For fans who revere United's winning traditions, his words struck a painful but resonant chord. A tale of two halves. The match itself served as a microcosm of United's season so far. The first half highlighted their weaknesses: a disjointed defense, a midfield overrun by energy and commitment, and an attack that looked predictable. Grimsby, to their credit, played with bravery and intensity. Manager David Artell deserves immense praise for preparing his players to believe they could upset one of the biggest clubs in world football. They pressed high, competed for every ball, and took full advantage of United's hesitation. Amorim's half-time substitutions improved the team but also raised questions. Why did United need to call upon stars like Fernandes and de Ligt against a League Two side? Why had Amorim rotated so heavily, only to abandon the experiment under pressure? The decisions felt reactive rather than proactive, pointing to a lack of coherent planning. United improved after the break but never looked like a team in control. Andre Onana's struggles also drew attention. Signed with great expectation to replace David De Gea, the Cameroonian has been plagued by errors. His misjudgment for Grimsby's second goal was glaring, leaving fans to wonder whether his confidence has completely collapsed. Amorim's insistence on sticking with him, despite mounting mistakes, has only fueled the criticism. Historical context. To grasp the scale of this humiliation, it helps to look at the historical context. Manchester United have suffered famous cup upsets before, York in 1995, Southend in 2006, MK Dons in 2014, but this one feels particularly damaging. Unlike those defeats, this came at a time when United had invested heavily in talent, with over £200 million worth of attacking players on the pitch. Traditionally, the Carabao Cup has been an opportunity for United to blood young players and still progress deep into the competition. Losing to a side 3 leagues below them not only destroys confidence but also strips away one of the easier chances for silverware this season. For fans who have waited years for consistency and success, this defeat represents a bitter betrayal of expectations. Grimsby's night of glory. While United licked their wounds, it is only fair to recognise the enormity of Grimsby Town's triumph. For a club with a modest budget and limited resources, defeating Manchester United in front of their home fans will go down as one of the greatest nights in their history. Every player in black and white gave everything, chasing down lost causes, defending with heart, and converting their penalties under immense pressure. For their supporters, who have endured years of ups and downs in the lower leagues, this victory is a storybook moment. The atmosphere at Blundell Park was electric from start to finish, and when the final penalty went in, the scenes of jubilation were unforgettable. It was a reminder of what makes cup competitions magical, the possibility, however slim, that underdogs can topple giants. The growing crisis at Old Trafford. The fallout from this defeat is not confined to one night. It raises serious questions about the direction of Manchester United under Ruben Amorim. The Portuguese coach was appointed with a reputation for tactical innovation and success at Sporting Lisbon, but his adaptation to the Premier League has been rocky. United have shown flashes of quality, but they lack consistency, intensity, and an identifiable style of play. Supporters increasingly wonder what Amorim's philosophy truly is. Is he trying to build a possession-based side? A counter-attacking unit? At present, the team seems caught between ideas, with players unsure of their roles. The lack of cohesion has been evident against stronger Premier League opponents, and now, brutally, against a League Two side. The pressure on Amorim is compounded by United's precarious position in other competitions. With the Premier League campaign already faltering and Champions League challenges looming, the Carabao Cup was viewed as a realistic chance for silverware. That chance is gone, and so too, perhaps, is the patience of both fans and the board. Looking ahead, the immediate future is uncertain. Will the club's hierarchy back Amorim, hoping he can weather the storm, or will they heed the voices calling for change? Roy Keane's demand for Amorim's dismissal will not be easily ignored, given his status at the club and his reputation for blunt honesty. Fans, meanwhile, are divided between those urging patience and those convinced that action must be taken now before the season collapses entirely. For Manchester United, the next few matches will be critical. A strong response could quiet the critics, but another slip-up may seal Amorim's fate. The challenge for the players is to rediscover pride, intensity, and unity. For the manager, the task is even harder, to prove he has the tactical clarity and leadership to justify his position. One thing is certain, the defeat to Grimsby Town will not fade quickly. It will be remembered as a night of humiliation, a symbol of decline, and perhaps the catalyst for major change at Old Trafford. Whether Amorim survives the fallout remains to be seen, but the calls for action are growing louder. As Roy Keane declared, the time for excuses has passed. Manchester United must act, or risk further embarrassment in a season already teetering on the brink.